In this video, I would like to clearly illustrate that not all fights end up on the ground. Okay? So, fights involving the firearm will not always end up on the ground. Most cases it will not end on the ground. Most cases it will end in a split second. And your life will be taken away in a split second. So say I'm in a confrontation with this guy and there's a firearm involved. That's all it takes to be dead right there. Okay? Let's demonstrate that one more time. There's a confrontation. There's a firearm involved. His life would end right there. So, situations involving a firearm will usually not end up on the ground. Another illustration involving a bull staff. Say for whatever reason there's a confrontation and there is a stick involved. Maybe you're mopping the floor and somebody's bothering you and there may be a confrontation. Okay, so in situations like this, there's a confrontation. This is the person that's the aggressor. Right there, it will end the fight. And it did not go to the ground. Let me illustrate that one more time. There's a confrontation, there is a stick involved, and that's it. He will be knocked down, knocked out. The confrontation will end. So, situations involving a bull staff, a lot of times, it may not end up on the ground. Another situation, say there's a sword involved. I don't know, maybe you carry the sword around in your car, in your vehicle. Maybe you're practicing with a sword at the park, or for whatever case. Maybe you got a sword in your home, and you get in a fight with somebody in your home, somebody that you may even know. And there's a fight in the home, and there's swords involved. The sword is right here by the side. There's a confrontation. Right there, it ended immediately. That did not go to the ground. Let me illustrate that one more time. There's a sword involved. There's a confrontation. This is the aggressor. Right there, the fight would end immediately, and it did not go to the ground. Illustrate another one. This is a common weapon. We all seen this before from Bruce Lee. We're talking about nunchucks, and not a lot of people own these. Now, people may have it in their car. People may have it for demonstration purposes. People may practice it at the park. You may have this in your home, but you may even carry these around with you. And say this is a situation where there's an aggressor, and you had the nunchuck on you. Right there, the fight would have ended, and it didn't go to the ground. Let me demonstrate that one more time. There's the aggressor, right there. The fight would have ended, and it did not go to the ground. So this is another instance with the nunchucks. Next one I'll demonstrate is with the baton. You see this baton, police officers will carry batons like this, and this is something that can be very easily purchased. This is very easily fit in your pocket. People could very easily put this in their car. They can have this at home. And this is another instance where it may not end up on the ground. Most cases it will not. So say the person is in a confrontation, arguing with you, and you're gonna engage in combat. Right there, it can end the situation. Right there immediately. Alright, so let me illustrate that one more time. We're talking about the baton here, or it could even be a stick. It could be a branch outside. It could just be a stick. Any stick will do. Say there's a confrontation outside. The person, there's the aggressor. Right there, could end the fight right there immediately, and it did not go to the ground. So fights involving sticks typically may not end up on the ground at all. Last demonstration, demonstrating with a knife right here, or not the last demonstration, demonstrating with a knife. Knives can be very easily concealable. Knives can be hidden in the pocket. People will have pocket knives. Okay? Now situation with this, with the knife. Confrontation right there can end the fight right there immediately. A lot of times it will not end up on the ground. Okay, let me demonstrate that one more time. It's a confrontation right there. End the fight immediately. It did not go to the ground. So those are some instances involving weapons where it may not end up in the ground at all. Okay? Here's another demonstration. Alright, unarmed. No weapons. This is the person that's bothering you, and he's giving you a problem. Okay? And unarmed combat. This is the situation. You kick him down. One good side kick can end the fight right there, and it did not have to go to the ground. Okay, so even if it's not a side kick, say I do another demonstration, the person is bothering you, this is the aggressor, you just push him down, kick him down with the front kick, a rear front kick, it could end the fight right there immediately, did not go to the ground. Okay, another demonstration using the hands, very easy. This person is bothering you, and then you just do some combinations to his face, could end the fight right there, no need to go to the ground. Another demonstration, the person is bothering you, jump right into a knee, end the fight right there, didn't have to go to the ground. Alright, so these are all just examples of how it does not have to go to the ground. Another thing is, boxers fight all the time and the fight never goes to the ground. Boxers in the ring is always standing up. Kickboxers is always standing up. Thai boxers is always standing up. So there's a bunch of fights out there, even in the competition world, that never go to the ground. And the reason is because these people have an agreement in their training and within themselves that they're not going to pursue the person further once they're on the ground. So if most people fought and protected themselves in these ways, most fights will not have to go to the ground. But because now there are a lot of wrestlers out there that are starting to punch on the ground, and they're calling this, that's what they do in the cage fighting, is making people wanting to fight on the ground. So yes, there is a potential for that. But also realize that most people that want to fight on the ground, it typically means that they're not capable of fighting up top. So that shows a lack of their development. A lot of times if you can end the confrontation standing, there's no need to get to the ground. Alright? So if a person is incapable of defending themselves while standing, and their only confidence is while on the ground, it puts limitations on what they could do. If they cannot kick to keep the person away to protect themselves, if they cannot punch, if they cannot elbow, if they cannot knee, if they cannot utilize their weapons standing, and their last result is having to get them on the ground and choke them and punch them while they're on the ground, they're losing more and more options. And what their ending result may be is that they may not be as good on the ground as they believe they are, or they're pretty much immediately jumping towards the last result. And if that last result does not work, then they got some problems. So a smart person will learn all the ranges of combat and be proficient so they can end the confrontation as soon as they possibly can. So what I mean by that is, if I'm justified to do so and I can end the confrontation from a distance, then that's what I'm going to do. Okay? I'm justified in doing so. In my state, say you're allowed to carry and you're allowed at this moment to defend yourself, I'll end it right there. Okay? At the longest range. Alright? But say you don't have a firearm, but you got a stick on you, you end it at the longest range. You don't need to go to the ground. You utilize the stick, the fight's over. Okay? You got a stick on you, somebody's bothering you, there's no need to go to the ground. You end it right there. The fight's over. Okay, you even got nunchucks. The person's bothering you, you end it right there. The fight's over. Okay? If you're justified in doing so, you got a knife. Justified in doing so, you end it without having to go to the ground. Okay? If you're good with your kicks, okay, you could end it right there. Fight's over. Don't have to go to the ground. Okay, I'm going through all the ranges right now. We had the kick. Okay, we got the long jab, the straight blast. End it right there. Fight's over. No need to go to the ground. Okay? So we had this distance. Say you get a close range distance. It's over. No need to go to the ground. You need him to get closer. It's over. No need to go to the ground. It's over. No need to go to the ground. Now if it does go to the ground, then you take care of business down there. But you gotta a smart person will utilize all the ranges and end the fight as soon as they can from the longest distance possible. There is no need to go to the ground. I do not promote for people to go to the ground because really we should be standing. Okay? And also if you're dealing with multiple offenders, it's not to your benefit to be on the ground. I promote people to practice martial arts in its entirety. Realize that there are weapons out there. Realize that there are multiple offenders out there. Realize that you may be jumped by 10 people, 5 people, 4 people. Okay? The ground fighting, a person that only wants to fight on the ground is very limited. They are not. It shows their incapability of standing up and defending themselves. Now, you need to learn how to fight on the ground as well. But don't forget the importance of the other ranges. If you can beat everybody from the kicking range and nobody can beat your kicking range, then that's what you're going to do. Okay? End it all with just the kicks. You don't even have to use your hands. Okay? You just, boom, just end everything with the kick. Okay, but if that does not work, utilize the punches. Utilize your hands. Okay? If that does not work, we got the elbows, we have the knees, we got headbutts. Alright? And then finally, if it goes to the ground, you got the joint locking, you got the chokes, things like that. Okay? So that is my illustration to show that no, not all fights will end on the ground. That's a lie. Okay? If you're proficient in what you do and you utilize your distance correctly, most fights will not go to the ground.